I just saw this video and I thought it looked interesting. So let's give it a watch and let's talk about it.
So before Upwork, before I started my own agency, I used to do a lot of gig work like Instacart, DoorDash, Uber Eats, stuff like that. And I did that every day.
Me
And a
too.
lot of my friends would tell me like, why don't you just get a job, like a 9 to 5 job? You're working all these hours doing this every day. You're better off just getting a job. Like you'll get paid more. The pay is
Yeah, you'll get paid more as long as they keep you on. Um, I really empathize with this title right away. That's why I'm watching this video because I think it's a really scary thing when you're a young person and you maybe work your first job and then you come to this realization of, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this forever the way that some people can. Uh, I noticed that very early on. I think I was 14, 15 years old and I was working in this party store and I would show up every day and I would unload boxes and I would take these huge bags of chocolate and I would scoop out a specific amount of chocolate into a bag and seal that bag and then throw that one into the side and do it all over again, over and over and over for, 5 hours at a time after school or whatever. And I really quickly started to understand that, I hate this. I hate this so much. I can't stand this. Maybe it's this job. So then I went and worked at a Kmart back when Kmarts were a thing. And I worked there for a few months, and they kept scheduling me super early in the morning at 7 a.m. on Saturdays, and they would schedule me all week long right after school, and I never had any free time, and I would often come in late, and eventually they fired me because I just couldn't get there when they needed me to get there, and I couldn't do what they wanted me to do, and they were having problems of their own, as we all saw eventually. And then I started working at a Burger King. And I worked at that Burger King for about a year and a half, and I really put in the hard work. I was there all the time, 50 plus hours a week while being in high school, doing doubles on the weekends and really giving it my all. And I hated it. I wanted to kill myself. My mental health was at a terrible all time low, just absolutely abysmal. I would have panic attacks before going to work, and I think this is really common for a lot of people. I'm not trying to say, oh, woe is me, but it's true. I would try to think of any excuse to try to get out of work, and often I couldn't, so I would just end up going in anyways. And all my coworkers were much older than me. A lot of them were on very hard drugs. It's the first place that I ever saw methamphetamine, and it was brutal. I had such a hard time dealing in that situation and coping. And as my life went on, I worked at more and more 9 to 5 jobs, and I couldn't handle it. The rigidity of the schedule, the desire to make me do things that I wasn't comfortable with or wasn't very good at, and the way that other people had to do significantly less than me because they weren't the type of person who felt bad about sitting around while other people worked. So I ended up working a lot more, and it drained me a lot. It took a lot of my life out of me. And so yeah, I empathize with this title immediately. I think there's a lot of us, and it's terrifying.
more
The
consistent.
world's not set up for us.
And I remember I told all of them, I would rather, do what I do and make 35 grand a year than work a 9 to 5 sitting in some office and get paid 100 grand a year.
Yeah,
And like when I told them that, they all said like, "Oh, you're crazy, you're insane." Maybe, I don't, maybe. All right, in this
we
video, I
we
wanted to
definitely are
take a couple
crazy.
steps back and kind
There's
of just
there's
tell
no
people my
way to say that
story
we're
of
not.
what happened to me after I turned 18 and what my mindset was like back then, which kind of got me to start my entrepreneurial journey, um, which I guess led me to where I am now. But long story short, it's pretty much I can't work a 9 to 5. So for me, I didn't know what to do after I graduated high school. Like I barely graduated high school. I had bad grades. I couldn't get into any of the colleges that I applied to.
I think a lot of us are like that too. A lot of us sort of coast through high school, and we coast through high school because it's not that hard. There's not enough challenge for a lot of people, and then um, I mean, you notice the kids who are acting up all the time. There's probably not enough challenge in high school for them. In fact, I think that a lot of the times the reason that we have to have these No Kid Left Behind programs is because it's not hard enough. We don't push people to achieve. We don't care about them achieving. We care about keeping these metrics good. It's why the educational system in America is so bad. I don't know what it's like, obviously, in other states. I grew up in West Virginia. It's really bad here. Most people just had the mentality of, I'll just go into the mines whenever I get out of high school. I don't care about this. I don't need to learn no math. That was the sort of ideology that went on. And it was really disheartening for someone like me who didn't have the resources. I come from a pretty poor background. I didn't have a desk with poster board and markers to do projects with. I didn't have my own computer until I was much older. It was really difficult to do high school because there were a lot of other people who would succeed much more than me because of where they came from. You know, they were able to study in places that I wasn't. I had to work jobs in order to help out with things. I had to do things around the house constantly because my parents were working. It was a difficult life for sure. I didn't have the ability to come home and just do whatever I wanted to do and succeed that way. And so there were a lot of kids who graduated from my high school, went on to become doctors and dentists and get degrees in things and have really successful existences. And I'm very happy for them and proud of them. But that wasn't my existence. So when I came out of high school, I had no idea what to do. I tried to go to a state college. It didn't work out for me because I had to work the whole time. I was dating this girl. I tried to live with her and get married, and that didn't turn out well for me. I just didn't have a setup that was good. No one ever told me how to do anything. I've been spending the past 10 years trying to learn it all myself.
And at the very last second, I had to join like a community college. And my mom told me that if I can just find a way to graduate college, she could get me a job working at a bank as a bank teller. Like she knew someone in the banking industry, and she told me she can get a job there if I can just graduate college. So my plan was like, okay, my goal
Easiest
is to
degree
just
possible.
go to this community college, study really hard, transfer to like a university or a Cal State, graduate there, and then after I graduate, I'm gonna work at a bank for the rest of my life. And then I thought about it, work at a bank for the rest of my life. Like something about that just sounded kind of depressing and sad. Like
Be careful what you get good
by the
at.
way, I'm not bashing anybody who works a 9 to 5 or who works at a bank. It's actually the opposite. Like I have so much respect for people who can do this
Absolutely.
because I can't. Like
Yeah.
I physically can't do it. Like the more I thought about it, the more I thought about like how this was gonna be.
This is There's this weird thing that happens. Whenever you talk about yourself, a lot of times people think that you're talking down about them. Whenever you try to up yourself, people see this weird comparison thing. And I think we do it. It's a problem, right? We want to say, "Oh, well, it's because I'm super smart and I'm an entrepreneur type and I'm the one who creates the jobs and blah 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 blah." No, you have a superiority complex and you're trying to nurse that in this moment. We're different. There's something else. There's something going on, and it's not necessarily good or bad. It's just different. There's not a lot of pathways for people like us other than those things. Being an entrepreneur, for me at least, starting businesses and working for myself is something that I've had to do. It's not something I wanted to do. I don't want to be anyone's boss. I wish that I could do something that gives me purpose in my life, and I could do that every single day for the rest of my life, and I would enjoy it. But I haven't found that thing a lot of times. It hasn't paid the bills, at least, if I found it. And that makes life really difficult. Now, I think a lot of people do feel okay, or they have families and they have all these responsibilities. There's a lot of people out there who are super depressed and angry because they have a lot of responsibility, and so they have to work these soul-crushing jobs, and they don't want to do it. That's fine, too. Props to those people, though, for being able to do it. I don't know what I would do if I was in your position. It's why I haven't ever had kids. So I don't plan to have kids because I don't think that I have inside of me what people have inside of them that makes them do things that they need to do instead of what they want to do. It's a different kind of person. But you still need to have empathy for other people. You should still care about the human beings who are different than you because maybe one day your type of human being won't be the one who's got this pathway that works for them. And then you need people to be empathetic towards you. And it's a lot easier to be nice to white people if we didn't do racism and we didn't, sorry, not racist, slavery, racism too. If we didn't do slavery to a bunch of black people for all of that time, it would be way easier to have empathy for the troubles that people go through if they didn't commit atrocities. So we need to be the change, you know? It's still all self-serving. That's all humans do is self-serve, but you can at least spin it in a way that sounds nicer.
my life, like the more I started to panic. This is gonna be my life. This is gonna be what I do for the rest of my life as a bank teller sitting in front of a desk, typing in numbers, doing the same thing every single day. So from the very beginning, like something just didn't sit right with me. And I used to work at a part-time as a part-time cashier at this one cafe. And I still remember to this
Excuse me.
day, like vividly. But there was one day where I got home from working a full shift, a full day shift on a Friday. It was 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I was working from opening to close that day. It was a full day, and I was dead tired.
Yeah.
And I remember like I got home, and that Friday was the day where I received my paycheck. So it was a 2 week paycheck. It was like $450, I think.
Yep.
And I remember like I was excited. I was dead tired, but I was looking at my paycheck of $450, and I was like, oh, I
Totally.
can't wait to spend this. And then I was like thinking of all the different things that I can buy, whatever. Like I was
Think
lying
about
in bed,
everything you had
dead
to do
tired,
for it.
sleepy, tired, and just thinking about like with my eyes closed, like what I would do with this money. Like I was holding the check, lying in bed like this, because to me that was a lot of money. But once I got past that phase of, thinking about what I can buy, I started to go a little further and start thinking about
Gets dark.
like, okay,
What you had to do
I'm
to earn
making
it.
$450 every 2 weeks working at this part-time job. That's $900 a month,
Yep.
right?
Nothing.
And I was only working like 3 days a week, I think, at the time. So I was like, okay, if I can ask for another work day per week, I can probably up this to $1,000 instead of $900 a month. So $1,000 a month for a
The idea, this is such an odd thing that people don't grapple with. And this is why entrepreneur bros, the influencers, the Andrew Tates of the world are so appealing to young people. Because imagine working another day and only making 50 bucks. And that's the life that I lived for a very long time. You think about all the things you have to do in a day to spend money on. If you're working a job, if you have a car, you're going to have some kind of car payment or insurance at the least. You're going to be buying gas. You have to feed yourself. You have to pay your utilities for that day, your rent for that day. And that's probably more than $50 already. So you're not even making enough money to support yourself while you're giving so much time to this business that you're dead tired afterwards. People don't understand how hard it is. I have no problem getting why people don't get your side hustle on, man. Get out there, and all you gotta do is stop being so lazy. You just gotta get out of bed every day. I that's the dumbest shit. If you have ever worked a job that is absolutely soul sucking and you're miserable the whole time, you know exactly why. Exactly why people don't do that. Because it's really, really hard to convince yourself to get up and do extra when you're already doing a ton and it's not doing anything for you. But I think a lot of the times the problem is that you're doing it for the wrong people. You gotta do it for you, not for others.
broke high school student who just graduated. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me do this for an entire year, $1,000 a month. Let me save every penny. And I started to get like motivated. I was like, let me start to think of all the things that I can buy with $12,000.
Especially if you're living at home with your
I went
parents.
from thinking
I never had
about
that
what I can
experience.
buy with $450 to like, let me work for an entire year, make $12,000. Okay, now I'm thinking about what I can buy with $12,000. So I was excited. But the more I actually thought about it, like the
Still
longer I
not even a
was
car,
lying
not
in
even a
bed
brand new
just
car.
thinking about how I
Get a
was going to
used car,
spend the
$4,000
$12,000,
Honda.
the more
Still not
confused I got.
much money.
Because I was like, sure, $12,000 is a lot of money,
It's not.
but there's not a lot that I would want to buy, first of all. And also,
You
I'm
can't
working an
change your life
entire
with 12
year,
grand.
taking drinks, taking people's orders, making drinks, sorry, and taking people's orders. Like, I'm already this tired from working one day.
Yep.
Like, can I even do this? Like, is this worth $12,000? And then I started to think about like how people are actually making like a full-time living, making all this money. And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, jobs, that makes a lot more sense. Like I'm working at a minimum wage. I'm working a minimum wage job at a cafe. Like a 9 to 5 office job is different. Okay, these people are making 40,000 to 80,000 a year. some high paying jobs, higher paying jobs like doctors, lawyers, they're making hundreds, $100,000 a year, and that's a successful job. That's a successful life. And I was like, okay, now I get it. So I need to go. My goal should be to aim for these types of jobs, like these 9 to 5 jobs. That should be my goal. So then I started to think about what my life would look like.
There's a weird thing that happens. People do this thing where they think, oh, I just need to work a job that pays me the most money possible. And they never consider whether they're the type of person who is going to be able to do that job. People look at doctors and lawyers and all those types of people, and they think, oh, they get paid so much for what they do and blah, blah, blah. The amount of work that they had to put in to get there isn't the type of work or the amount of work that a lot of people can put in. People have different batteries. We're all a little bit different in that way, you know? Some people aren't very math minded. And so getting a job in technology probably wouldn't be right for them because you have to be able to think mathematically. Even if you're not using equations, you're making equations a lot of times. And so your brain has to be really oriented to seeing how the numbers line up in things. It's one of the reasons I'm really drawn to technology, and the reason that I think I do pretty well at it is because I see those patterns very easily. I'm not somebody who could go to med school and then work a whole bunch and go to my residency and stay up for 20 hours straight working all the time. It would drive me literally crazy. I would start to fall apart as a person, so I don't go for those things. But the problem with the fact that like we're in a society where money is the thing that drives us is that we're forced to look at things on a cost analysis. We're forced to see what's this going to cost me and how much can I get out of it, instead of going, what's good for me? What can I do to help society, to help the world, which is what you want. You want people who are applying the skills that they have to making everyone else's life better. That's what society is. You're making everyone's dreams work by crowdsourcing everything that you need.
Like once I start working a 9 to 5, like an office job, like just sitting in front of a desk, typing in numbers, filing paperwork, just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I was like, I don't want to work in an office. Like, it's already this stressful
Totally.
working at a cafe, and all I'm doing is just taking people's orders and making drinks, and I'm already this stressed. Like, imagine a full time job. You're telling me that I have to spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, doing the same thing over and over again, working for a company that doesn't care about me, and honestly, like, I don't care about the company either. Um, but you're telling me I have to do this for the rest of my life? Like, is this really the only way to make a living, to make money? Like, is this the only path that's available? And this was when like my confusion level started to reach like its peak, and my confusion slowly started to turn into anger. Like I was like, wait a minute, how are there?
A lot of people get really angry. This is so a lot of discourse that you see online comes down to a simple fact that someone is angry because their situation is bad, and then other people see that their situation is equally as bad as theirs, but they're not angry about it, and they just have this attitude of, well, suck it up, jerk off, just get in there and work. Why are you so special that you think? No, man, I think none of us should have to do this. I think none of us should have to do things that make us miserable in order to just get to our next meal. This is set up by human beings. It can be changed by human beings too. And I think that a lot of people see this anger as entitlement. But I don't think that it is. If it's entitlement for the entire human race. It's not entitlement for just me. Now I'm part of that, and I want my life to be better, obviously. But you have to stop thinking of other people as being your enemy. They are mostly your team, and so you need to work with them.
There are millionaires in the world. Like, I understand celebrities, I understand athletes, and these musicians, these professionals. Like, those people are making millions of dollars. Like, cool, I understand, like, all these actors, these world level athletes, whatever. Cool, I'm not talking about them. But I was like, celebrities aren't the only millionaires in the world.
No.
There has to be other people that I don't know about. These normal people that have millions of dollars, that have all this money. Like, how are they doing it? You know, do they have like a job? Do they have one of those, successful $100,000 a year jobs? So I was like, okay, maybe this should be my goal. Because for me, I needed a goal. Like, I needed to know
What you're working
what
towards.
path to take.
Totally.
So I was like, okay,
Well, that's the thing too, is that there's not a lot of paths set out in front of us anymore. We have to come up with our own path, and that makes it really, really difficult because most people aren't very creative by nature, especially to come up with a one in a million idea to figure out where you're going to go. That's above most people's pay grade.
I work really hard, and then I get one of those $100,000 jobs. So let's assume that I somehow found a way to live for free. I don't pay rent. I eat for free. I drive to work for free. I don't spend any money on clothes, on insurance, nothing. I have no bills whatsoever. And then on top of that, let's assume that I somehow found a way to avoid taxes. Like I found a cheat code or a hack. The government can't catch me. Somehow, the entire $100,000 a year that I make, the salary that I make,
10 years to get $1 million.
I keep all of it for myself. I don't have a single expense, and I save, and I somehow find a way to save every penny. It will still take me 10 years
I'm making
to
100
reach
grand.
1
Yeah.
million.
This is the exact same thought that I had a
10
long
years
time ago.
of slaving away, working at a job I hate, because I know I'm going to hate it, saving every single penny, not paying a dime in taxes, working at this supposedly successful top.
I'm going to break the code for you before he does. Thomas, you're doing a great job. A little slow paced, but a great job. The code is that you want to maximize the amount of money you make per hour, period. You want to figure out how to get $1 million in 1 year, if possible. That's the goal. The goal isn't to get the best salary at a company that has a top salary of 80 grand. Now, if that is your goal, that's totally fine. But if you're somebody who wants to have all of the world opened up to them, to have all of the access, you have to figure out what you can do that might be so valuable that you can make $1 million off of it in 1 single year. Now, that's nearly impossible. I don't expect it to ever happen to me in my lifetime. But some people are able to do it. And if we're living in a world where more and more jobs are becoming redundant because of AI, and if we're living in a world where there aren't a lot of high-paying jobs because we're trying to maximize the profit for the shareholders and not for the people who are working the jobs and actually making the value, then you have to figure out, okay, what am I? What can I do? How can I get mine? And that's the thing that keeps us all here right now in this moment with what we're doing, is because we haven't figured it out yet. We're still searching. We're still working on that skill set. But don't be afraid to take your life back into your hands and mess around. I want to say another word. Mess around for a little while. Figure out what makes you you. Figure out what you have. And then apply those skills to the world and see what you can do. I know I sound like one of those financial guru dudes or one of those entrepreneur guru dudes. I promise you I'm not one of them. I don't believe that you can go out and wash windows and make $1 million a year or whatever the hell they teach you in those programs that you have to pay money for. You ever notice how you're paying their bills by them telling you how to pay your own bills? Why where do you think that money comes from, man? All these kids are giving them a whole bunch of money in order to get their courses. That's how they make their money, my guy. They didn't wash windows. You're believing a lie.
Top tier job, 10 years of that, and I have 1 million. There are multi-millionaires out there somewhere, billionaires. Like, I'm not even gonna get into that because I couldn't even fathom. That wasn't even a thought that went into my head. I couldn't fathom it at that point. But there are multi-millionaires out there, these normal people. Like, let that sit. Like, I don't know about you, but that made me so angry. Like, I got up from my bed.
A lot of people do.
Like,
a lot of
mine,
people
I was
have that
dead
idea
tired.
that
Like, I
they
just
should
came
share
back
their
from
money.
working a 12-hour
I don't
shift.
believe it.
I was lying in bed, eyes closed.
I don't think
ready
that
to
works.
sleep.
I think that you need to create a world where your value, where you're trained to create value. That's what I think the world that we have to create. That's what I think it is. I don't think that we're going to succeed by getting billionaires to give away their money because they make the rules and they're not going to do that.
But as soon as that thought came into my head, like I just couldn't sleep. Like I got up from my bed and got in front of my computer and I started to type like all the ways to make money, how people are making money in their sleep, how millionaires become millionaires. Like I was so angry and upset at the fact that my entire life I was told that I need to be striving for this 9 to 5. That the whole purpose of me going to school, going through all these things that I went through, learning all these things, whatever, to reach the pinnacle of life, to have a successful life, I need to work towards this 9 to 5. This should be my goal. And then there are people out there making millions of dollars, and these guys don't work a 9 to 5. Like, there's no way. Like, I wanted to know what they were doing. Like, I didn't sleep for 2 days.
Well, they have a lot of money a lot of times, and having a lot of money opens a whole lot of doors for you. This is a thing that people don't understand, and you're seeing a lot of this now, right? He's obviously not one of them. I don't know how old this guy is. You're seeing a lot of 22-year-olds now come to this realization of, oh, I've been grinding so hard for the past 4 years, and I've only made $30,000 of profit, and I bought my first car, and now that's all gone, and like blah, blah, blah. That's such a common thing. You don't understand that when you have a ton of money, the ability to generate income is so much higher because I saw the financial audit with Caleb. He had what's her name? Female streamer. Not Valkyrie. Oh, it'll come to me. Red hair. We all know who she is. Amaranth. He had her on there, and he showed that if she just put her money into an S&P index fund, it would just return her $1 million plus a year. It really does scale in that way. But when you have the kind of money that I do, or most people do, it's incredibly difficult to make that first $1 million, that first $10,000. I mean, I remember the first time I had a year where I had any kind of extra income, it was mind-blowing to me. And it didn't stay that way. It's super difficult. Most people probably won't succeed at it. It's really dangerous to give people the idea that they can do anything. In front of my computer,
angry researching. Like, I've never done anything like this in my entire life. Have you ever angry researched before? Like, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're looking for. You're just upset and you need to
come across some amazing
so
stuff
you just
that
research. Way. Like, you don't care about anything. You're hungry. You have people calling you. You don't care. I need to find an answer to this. I'm
always looking for an answer.
So why am I mentioning this story? It's because if there's one thing that I learned over the past couple months posting on YouTube, it's that there are a lot more people like me than I actually thought. People who think like me, people who go through similar thoughts and similar situations. Like, I'm just a normal guy with extravagant thoughts. There are other normal people out there who have the same thoughts that I have, but before they get into it or before
they talk themselves out of it,
do anything and take some action, they were told by someone else, or they tell themselves that it's not possible. It's possible. Like, it's real. Like,
I've told people, so I'm not somebody who likes toys. I don't want a really expensive car or computer. I don't want a giant mansion. I don't want any of that. What I want is freedom from this mortal coil, honestly. But what I really want is, what I think is actually achievable, is freedom from the crushing slave labor market that we're currently in. And I've often told people, I will die with more debt than anyone has ever had before I give up trying to make my life easy. That's the truth. And a lot of people just err on the side of caution. And I get that. And I totally understand where you're coming from, but it's not for me. And it's not for this guy. And it's not for a lot of people. I look at Asmon, Asmon went through this whole lifetime of being just extremely impoverished because he just didn't want to do anything else. He didn't want to give his life up. And I think that it's such a sad thing, the idea of giving our life up because we created these pieces of paper, that now to note what your value is. History has been filled with people who have taken advantage of people who have not. And I don't think that you have to participate if you don't want to.
I'm sitting here now telling you that it's real. Find the
I'm
right
getting
people you
angry,
trust.
apparently.
Obviously,
Well, I have a lot of emotion the past couple of days. Yesterday I made videos and I was angry too. I think I'm going through it right now. I'm in a very stressful part in my life. I have a lot of things going on. There's family issues that are happening. There's money issues that are happening. There's a vacation coming up that is difficult for me to make logistically happen. I'm having to do a lot more than what I normally do. So I think that I just have that emotion coming out. So sorry for anyone who has to sit through and feels like I'm bitching or something. My
be
apologies.
careful. But find these people, like whether it's me or somebody else, and learn from them. Like implement their strategies, and you can change your life. You can change your life. You can make money online. Don't listen to anybody else that tells you any different. And another thing that I realized, the longer you wait, the harder it becomes for you to start. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes for you to start. Like,
I don't like that people use this term "you can," because the opposite of can is can't, and you never can't. As horrible as a sentence that is, you never can't. There's always a possibility, but you might not. You might not. That's what these people need to work in to make their shtick more honest. And that's what I'll tell you is that you can. It's possible. You might do it. You might be that person who can, but you also might be the person who won't. And that's something you need to ask yourself and really think about. Now, I know that if you're watching this video and you're a person like me, it doesn't matter what I say to you. I was going to play in a band and try to make it as a famous musician when I was 18 years old, no matter what happened. That's who I was. I would not take no for an answer. I was going to do what I wanted to do. And I got to do a lot of really cool stuff out of that. I got to play lots of shows. I got to record music. I learned a whole bunch of skills that I always wanted to have. I got to feel like that thing and cosplay as that thing that I really wanted to be. And that was amazing. And no one could have told me not to. So I know that if you're anything like me, it's not going to matter. But you should realize that it's possible that you won't. Because I didn't. I didn't make it as a famous musician. I didn't tour the country when I was 16 years old like I thought I would do when I was 14. That didn't happen for me. Now, I did come to a place that I'm really happy to be, and I'm glad that my life went the way that it did. But don't think that the world owes you something just because you believe that it does.
whatever it is. Like, I'm not saying, to quit your job or anything like that, but like, what do you want? What is it that you want
Yeah.
in this life? And what are you currently doing to get there? So it turns out I'm actually pretty close to monetizing my videos.
Good job,
And
man.
putting
Props to you.
ads or getting paid for ads or whatever. And I never planned on turning this on because I don't want ads on my videos. But it turns out because
I do.
I watched one of my videos on a separate
Look at
account,
those numbers every day, baby.
and I got ads on it. So it turns out there's already ads on my videos, and I didn't know that. Like, I thought I had to turn this on for there
Hey,
to
it
be
just
ads,
happens, yeah.
but apparently not. So I wanted to ask, like, because I don't want to get paid for this. Like, I don't want it. Like, I don't want it.
Charlie had that same.
So I just planned on
thing
turning
at the
this
beginning.
off. But I don't know if, like, I turn it off, there's gonna be less ads, or if I turn it on, there's gonna be more ads. Like, I don't know how this works. So I wanted to ask, would you rather have me keep this off,
I have YouTube
and then
Premium.
maybe I guess there's gonna be less ads? Like, I don't know how it works. Or do you want me to turn this on, when I become eligible for it, so that I get paid for the ads?
Get your bag, make your money, do your thing, expand what your vision is. If I'm inconvenienced by the ads, I won't watch it. And you'll notice that there are people not watching it. But I have YouTube Premium because I don't want to see ads. A lot of people have YouTube Premium because they don't want to see ads. If people like you, they will watch through the ads. They will support you. That's what people do. It's totally okay to make money. I don't think it's an evil thing to make money. I know that that's sort of a thing that separates me from a lot of people who are in the whole anti-work, whatever it is. I don't subscribe to any label of that kind, but I think it's totally okay to make money. I want to see Charlie do really well. I want to see him expand Moist and see what ideas he comes up with. I want to see people go to Mars. I want to see these people be able to do these things. Now, I do think that we should be able to allocate money to people who need it, but I think we can do both. And I don't have a problem with people getting their bag. I don't. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it makes you a bad person because you want to make money off something that you do that takes your time. You need the money to live. You need it to do more things. And I want to see the more things that you can do. Thomas?
But then, like, I give it back
Jeez,
to you.
I am so hiccupy.
So, like, whatever
today.
money I make, by the end of the month, I'll take a screenshot, show it to you guys, and then I'll give it away to, like, someone who comments or who's a subscriber, whatever. Because I don't want it.
Give it a
I
charity,
don't want
dude.
this. But I thought it'd be a cool way to kind of give back to you guys. So yeah, let me know what you think. I didn't know, like, there were ads on my videos, so that's weird. Like, it's probably not going to be a lot anyways, but I wanted to ask in case you guys are interested, because I don't want this. I never planned on turning this on, but I didn't know there were ads on my videos already, so I might as well, like, get paid for it, and then I guess give it back to you guys or donate it or do something. So let me know.
Well, props to you, Thomas. I'm glad that you're finding success in your life after getting out of your 9 to 5. I've also found that to be the case for myself, that I've done a lot better since not working a 9 to 5 than I did ever working a 9 to 5. And people thought I was crazy a lot of the time along the road, but sometimes you just have to follow your heart. And as cliche and as dumb as that sounds, if you believe that you have something worth saying and worth doing for the world around you, don't give up on it. Even if you don't know what that thing is yet, the journey will show you what that thing is. Go to school. Don't figure out what it is that you need to do. I want to start quoting that Hannibal Buress bit. Move in with like 8 or 9 roommates. Start a salsa company. Start a jam band. Just do whatever you need to do in order to get yourself to where you want to go. And even if you don't know where that is, but you know that it's not the stuff that people tell you should want, then just do whatever you need to do to get there. Have a good one, guys. Like and subscribe to Thomas. Just do it. Be good to him. Jeez.